Greetings. So now I'd like to show you an application that I have created in order to make my life in World of Warcraft earning gold much easier without the need of me using spreadsheets and so forth. The application itself is free, and it is something that I am creating in order to maintain my Java development skills. And some of the things that you can do with the application is check if your auctions have been undercutted by another player. You can see if an item is profitable to craft. You can check out if an item doesn't exist on your auction house and find out the historical market value of that item with the help of Trade Skill Masters API. You can browse for items that are below the market value, or that are currently priced below the current market value on your auction house. And the first thing that you will see when you open the application is this window, if you haven't opened the applications before, of course. And here you can define which region you play on. You can choose between EU and US. If you play on an Oceanic server, you just choose the US option, and from the drop down menu below you select your realm. So let's say that I play on Emerald Dream. I'll just press E until I find Emerald Dream, or I can just scroll down the list and I can type in a character name. I'll just type some random stuff. The character name is used to check if a player has undercutted your auctions. It also allows you to see which auctions you have up on the auction house at any given time. Bear in mind that the data is only updated every 15 minutes from Blizzard's side, so it might not always be up to date, so just bear that in mind, but it's still better than constantly camping the auction house without having, without the ability to tab over to another window, or having to use multiple monitors to have an alt camped on the auction house on the second account or whatever. And so yeah, and the next thing you have is the API settings. Here you can add your WoWuction API key and your TSM key. You have the buttons on the right side here, which allows you to, which sends you to a web page where you can find the where you can get your API key if you do not have one. The next thing you have here is an option for you to have the data automatically updated for you whenever it is available. But you still have to update it for the first time every time you open the application. But when the application is open and you have updated the data, it will download fresh data whenever it is available. So when we are done setting up the application, we just click Save, and a new window will pop up. And the first time you open the application, if you don't have the WoWuction API key, or well, at least the WoWuction API key and maybe the TSM key, you will have a blank window. Then you can just simply go to File, force refresh, and the data will be in the list. This should only occur the first time you open the application, and if it keeps on happening, go and get a WoWuction key. You should get it anyways, so that you're aware of that. And if you want to change any of the settings that you have defined in the setup wizard at a later given time, you can just go to Settings, General Settings, and change it here. Currently there's no drop down menu in this area, so you have to type it in manually. it is not case sensitive, but and if you are playing on Azul or Rube or anything like that, the I can't remember what the name of that symbol is, yeah, but that one, it should be replaced by a dash. It is, you should do it manually, you might as well do it manually, but it should be replaced by the application, so you shouldn't have to think about it. But just to be safe, you can do it manually. And yeah, if you would like to see a tab here for WoWuction or TSM, you just check these ones, and of course you should type in your API key, hit apply, and the data will be loaded in. The application comes with a dataset from WoWuction and TSM from my realm, and you should replace that as soon as you can with your realm's data. Yeah, so if you want to make sure, if you are experiencing the problem we had earlier, you can just make sure, you can just turn on the WoWuction tab, and it should be fine. This is because it gets some of the item names from the WoWuction data sometimes. And the next window we have is the watch list. Here we can see all of the items that are on the auction house. Some of them, every item should be there, and you can just right click, add item, and then you will have it in your watch list. By default it comes with most of the standard materials, crafting materials from Warlords of Draenor. You can, if you would like to, you can just right click and remove an item or all of the items if you want to do that. The list is searchable, or the left side of the list, left list. So you can just search for Magic Eater, and you will see it there, not case sensitive. And then you have the pricing tab in settings. Here you can define if you want to use crafted materials for the material price, and you can also check off if you want the auction house cut to be used or not for profit calculation. I'd suggest that you leave that one on, as there's not really a point in not having that one on, really. And in the inscription tab, you have the option of telling the application that you want to buy all the materials for the glyphs from the auction house. That means the inks, that is the inks. So you want to buy all the inks from the auction house. The second option is to use Warbinder's ink for all of the glyphs that you are going to craft. The third option is that you want to mill all the herbs for the glyphs. And I'll just open an application again with my own settings. And I just have to delete the new save file, and there we go. Start the application again. You can see that it loaded as it was supposed to do. And you can search through, go through all of these tabs. You can search through any of the columns in the search field that you have above. You can search for ore, or true iron ore if I want to do that. I can go to the auction house, search for a specific player. Let's take the first person in the list, LK. And it also is okay, yeah. It also searched for all of the columns as well. I'm not sure why that item appeared on. Yeah, of course, because of the player. Yeah. So let's take this person and search for that one, and then you can see that it's only that person that appeared in the list. If you want to check out specific auctioneers or people or characters, you would want to go up into the auctions tab. Okay, menu, which is over here. But before I go over there, I'd like to show you how you can update the data. If you would like to update the TSM data, you just select TSM from the menu, click Update Database. It will prompt you with a message telling you that the application will freeze for a couple minutes or seconds, depending on how your connection speed. And you will be prompted with a message telling you that the download is completed when it's done. For the rest of the downloads, you will get a progress bar. Let's say that we want to download the WoWuction data. You click select it from the list, click Update. You can see the size of the file here, the progression of the download, and you will also get an indicator for when you last updated your data from WoWuction. Unfortunately, it will not show you when the last their database was last updated, and there's not really a point in that, since you can just use data from my apologies, from Blizzard's servers yourself. So you can just select Blizzard from the combo box, click Update, and it will download data for your realm. The last updated indicator will now change to 0, and now you will see that the data is updated in the table. And in the top right corner you can see the time or how many minutes ago the data or the were fresh data available from Blizzard. And then we have the filter panel. The filter panel allows you to filter filter the items that are shown in the filtered auction list. So you can tell the application if you want to filter the minimum profit based on a percentage or a gold value. Personally, I prefer to use a percentage. And the demand in percent, that is based on the WoWuction data. The minimum price you want an item to cost, and the minimum daily sold quantity, which is an estimate and is using the WoWuction data. And you also have the filter option. You can select which type of filter you want to use. A filter is something that tells the application which item you want to have in the list. So let's say that I would like to see all of the gems that I have recipes registered for in the application. And then I can see here, you see that the price for Potent Vermilion Onyx is 0. That is because there are no items up on the auction house, as you can see from the tooltip as well. There's no data in the auction details. That indicates that the item is most likely not in the database on the auction house. And you can see that materials are up, but yeah. So if you want to, you can try to sell it. You can, on the right side here, you can see the demand. You can see the estimated sold per day as well. And let's say that we would only like to see the Warlords of Draenor items. Then you just untick all of those. Make sure that you have Warlords of Draenor selected, and just click Apply. And we have only the Warlords of Draenor gems visible. So we can filter it further. We can say that we want a minimum profit percentage of 20%, and yeah, minimum demand of 20, and we want there to be at least sold 5 of the item per day as less. Once you're happy with your filter, you just click Apply. Then you can see the items you have that are meeting the criteria that you have set. You can also go. You also have the price source option. It allows you to not use something other than the minimum price or the lowest current buyout on the auction house as a cost and profit estimate. So let's say that I would like to use the market price instead for the items, and then you can see that data changes. This one will always be the same. It will use the lowest price for an item on the auction house currently, since that's relevant. That's what I would consider to be relevant. If you have a reason not for it not to be like that, please tell me and I will consider changing it. Besides that, we also just select these ones, just have them selected. We have the glyphs, materials, select those. You can see that medium leather is kind of a potential profit if I were to create that. And I can go to the cheaper than market price tab or option, and I can see which items are cheaper than the auction house price, or the minimum the market price for my realm. So I can see, and I also use the filters from profit and demand and daily sold. Then I can see which items I could maybe make a profit on buying and reselling. And you also have the not found at your auction house option as well, that uses a trade skill master data. Just click apply and you can browse through it. Unfortunately, you cannot browse for minimum profit, demand and so forth, as these are items that are not located on your realm, so you can't get that kind of data. And yeah, and if we would like to, I'll just go to the first option. I'll just clear my filters. Not sure why I would. Yeah, I'll just do it. So now you have the auction house tab, or the menu. Here you can choose to see all of your auctions that you currently have up on the auction house, and it will also show who have undercutted you. And currently you can see that no one has undercutted me on my auctions. And if I go to my auctions, I can see the auctions that I have up. So it seems like this is on one of my alts. So yeah, you see how many items I have up on that item. I can see the average buyout per item and the sum total worth of those items. If I want to, I can tick this box off and it will stay on top forever if I wanted to. So I have this one selected and it will just still stay on top. I can go and browse the internet and it will still stay on top. If I want to go to check out the newspaper, I will still have that one on top. So I can keep track of my auctions without being in game or having the game in the foreground, which I personally find useful, as I would like to be able to do my studies, read, and maybe play some other games so while I'm having my auctions up and running. If I want to have a smaller window instead of this big one, by the way, you can resize the window, I'll use the overlay window. You can have this window closed if you want to now. So just click close, and now I have a tiny overlay. And as you can see, you can still see how much your auctions are worth in total. You can see how many auctions you have up in the auction house. You can see how many items or individual auctions. How many of your auctions are undercutted by someone else. You can also see when the data were last downloaded. which as you can see here, 3 minutes, 3 minutes. And let's close that one. So that box will update whenever the data is updated. Next we have the auction house overview. In this window we can see all the items that are on the auction house. You can order them a quantity, total worth or item name. You can also browse through the list by searching. If you would like to see the statistics or the data of each of the characters that have items on the auction house, you can do that by going to the Auctioneers stats tab, for lack of a better name. Here you can order the item, or the players or people based on the total items, auctions, or how many individual auctions they have up, and their total worth, or the total worth of their auction sum total. Let's just take this character name. So for the next, you can also search through this list as well. Same for the owner statistics. So if you want to see more details about what kind of item a specific person is posting, maybe if you want to do some research, find out what items some people you think are really good or have a good idea of what they're doing are selling, you can do it by searching the list for a character. And once you have searched the list, right click the name, get auctions, and you have the data available. So now I can see that this person has 13 auctions up on the auction house. 13 different items, it seems. And you can get the total item count, individual items. In this case 17,306. The total worth of all the players' items as well. And if you want to check out someone else, you just search for that player instead. Right click, get auctions, and you can see their items. All pets will be shown as pet cage, unfortunately. This is because the WoWuction data do not have pet names. And the data in the dataset have the same item ID for all of the pets. And this is something that I will try to get around to if I have time for it. It's not the first priority, seeing as no one has requested it either. And the next thing we have is the garrison option or menu. The first item you have is the trading post vendor. You can select the vendor of the day with the one you have. Currently I have Pixney Pen Pocket in my garrison, and I can, and then by the way, the list will update automatically, so you don't have to do anything. So as like Pixney Pen Pocket, I can see that Jolly Skulker Flesh gives me about 2.7 silver per garrison resource, so it's not the best option. You can see that Robot Boar Mate give me 1.5 gold, but it doesn't sell that much. And Drainic Dust give me 30 copper, 30 silver, and sells a lot. So you can see which items you might want to try to buy or convert your garrison resources into gold with. And the next thing you have in the garrison menu is the work order window. Here you can see the different garrison buildings. If I miss some, just tell me and I'll add them. And you can search the list based on the name or any of the columns. So let's say I want to see the Enchanter window, I mean work thing. You can just filter the list, and since you would probably convert your fractured temporal crystals into temporal crystals, I have added that one to the list as well. And here you can see the cost of the work order, the current price of that item on the auction house, and a comparison between the work order versus the auction house. So you can see that I save 4.37 gold by doing the work orders instead of buying the item from the auction house. I can also see that the temporal crystal, there I save 56 gold compared to buying the item off the auction house for crafting. And then we have the crafting cost. You can see how much it costs to craft an item, and there you can't really aim for crafting fractured temporal crystal. If you have the maximum skill, you'll probably get a temporal crystal, so that one is added instead. You can see that it costs 16.4 gold to create one. If you would like to use another recipe for the temporal crystal instead of the daily cooldown, you can change it into that. It's fine, no problem. And then in the last column you can see the comparison between the work order versus the crafting costs, and you can see that I save gold by doing the work order instead. The work order is a lot cheaper. It costs almost 4 gold compared to 16 gold, so it's gold saved. And the next thing we have is a cash on delivery profit calculator. Here I can type in the item ID of an item I would like to sell. If you want to get the item ID, you can just hover over the item in the list. So let's say we want true iron ore. We want to sell some of that to a person directly. So we just type in the item ID of the item. It will search through the query database every time you type in the letter. Once that's done, the item name will appear so that you can verify that it is the item you were looking for. And you can type in the quantity you would like to sell the item, or the buyer is asking for. Let's say I want to sell 550 items, and the asking price is, let's say, 397 gold. Click calculate, and you can see the price per item and the loss or profit based on the current minimum price on the auction house. If you can also see the market price compared to the price per item and get an idea of the loss there. Depending on your needs, it can be acceptable, but anyways, you can use this to find out if it's an acceptable loss without having to find a calculator, but you have to find an application instead. So yeah. The next thing, two options looks quite similar, so I'll just show one of them. It is the item and recipe menu and the glyph material menu. So I'll just go into the item and recipe menu, and here I can type add an item if I want to do that by, let's say that I would like to find a gem. So I would like to add this item to my recipe list, since let's pretend that I do not have it. So yeah, so I type in the item ID of that item. It will fetch the name of the item so I can verify. If there's a class requirement, it will get that data for you, and you manually have to set the item type, which is in this case is a gem. The expansion it is from, this one is from Mr. Pandaria, and the profession or the source of that item. So if it's a drop, tailoring, jewel crafting, in this case it's jewel crafting, whatever. And if you want to add an item, you can either press Ctrl N, regardless of it being OS X or Windows, or you can just click the button. And So the same thing here, you type in the item ID of an item. See that I added a black rock fragment. Then I can select the quantity, how many I need for that, for each individual item. So if the one craft produces 10 items, you would have to divide it by 10 and figure out how many you need. So just add item once you're happy. If you want to modify them, you can just either just change the text here manually, which I wouldn't recommend. The quantity field is just fine to change, but these two I would rather not touch after you have added the item. And you can just change the value here to 3 if you want to do that. Click save. If the item already exists, you overwrite the item. If you want to clear the list, you just click clear materials and fine. If you want to edit an existing material or verify the contents, you can. If you want to verify the contents, you can click the go to Wowhead and you can see that item on the their website. If you want to remove the item or the recipe, you click the remove button. If you want to edit or modify it, you can just click edit. And here you can change the number you want. You can clear the materials. You can change it to be engineering instead. You can say that it's from Wrath of the Lich King and it isn't a trading good, but it's a glyph. You can do that if you want to do that, if you wish to. You can also, the list on the left side, you can filter by either or both, typing the name of the item. I have to chill for a bit. Or you could go to, and you can also select the source of the item. So let's say I want to see only the enchanting items. I can see them over here. I can remove the text. I can just search for all the breath recipes, and I can go and edit the recipe, and it appears on the right side. The glyph material one works just the same way, except you can't filter by source since there's not really a point in doing that. Edit the recipe if you want to do so, and change the values in the same manner. Same hotkeys shall apply. That's it for this video. Oh, by the way, you also have the tooltip. I haven't mentioned anything about that. It will show you the data about that item on your auction house. So you can see the lowest buyout for that item. You can see the crafting cost for the item, the potential profit if you were to resell it for the current lowest buyout, and you can see how many items are up on the auction house of that specific item at this given moment. And you can also see which person is the seller of that item. Other than that, you have the WoWuction and TSM data in all its glory. You can see the demand of an item, you can see the market value, market price compared to the minimum price. As you can see here, the item doesn't really sell well. I can select a more attractive item instead. Let's say I want to see greater multi-strike, and and then I can see the information for that item. You can also see the market price or market value from TSM's data, the historical price, global market value, and so forth. You also see the item's ID on the right side and the icon on the left side. The icon is the reason why it sometimes takes a while to load the tooltip. The tooltip might also take some time to download itself, since the application sometimes will download the item information or item object from the Blizzard database. And yeah, okay, that's it for this walkthrough. It will update about every 15 minutes or so, and there will be fresh data every 15 minutes or so. And I'll stop rambling now. Other than that, I hope that you enjoyed the video, found it useful, and I hope that you find the application useful. Personally, I have utilized this application for quite a while, since I started developing it, and I have been above 1 million gold for quite some time now. Yeah, sometimes I kind of waste gold on random stuff because I feel like it, but currently I am sitting on 1.2 million gold. I'll just move the window so you can see. So you can see it, 1.2 million gold. I used to have more, and I'm kind of paying my subscription with gold, since why not? So yeah. So as I said, I hope you found the video useful. I hope you find the application useful, and if you do, I hope that you download it. Give me some feedback if there's anything you would like to give feedback on. And yeah, thank you for watching. Click like if you liked it, and have a nice day.